Are the governing body members just a bunch of deluded men, or is there more to it than that? Some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses even believe that the governing body members are just old deluded men believing in their own BS, so to speak. And some believe that there is more to it than that. Well, in this video, I wanted to ask a few simple questions that are going to divide, basically, the governing body members and the rank and file. And by the end of this video, hopefully, you'll be able to make your own mind. Is the governing body, are the governing body members so innocent and just deluded old men believing their own teachings, or is there more to it than that? Something that you do not want maybe to admit to yourself, something that would be too hard to admit to yourself. Anyhow, you'll be able to make up your mind if you still want to believe that they're just deluded men believing their own teaching, or if there is more than that behind it all. The first question we could ask is, does the average Jehovah's Witness knows, for example, that the Watchtower has invested money in stock and bonds, such as Boeing, Monsanto, Philip Morris, and so forth and so on? Does the average Jehovah's Witness, the rank and file, knows about that? Well, it's easy to know the answers because there are plenty of videos on YouTube of people who have done just that, asking members of the rank and file, the average Jehovah's Witness, such questions to see if they knew about it. What answer do we get every time? No, we don't know that. We've never heard of that. It's not even true. Well, but does the governing body members know that they have invested money in stock and bonds? Yes, they do. So there you have it. Already a difference between what the rank and file knows and what the Watchtower leaders know. The question number 2 that we can ask is, does the average rank and file knows that the Watchtower was a member of the UN for almost 10 years, from 1992 to 2001? Well, the average Jehovah's Witness will tell you no. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I was one in the middle of that, I had no idea. The average Jehovah's Witness does not know that. Worse even, if you ask them the question, they'll deny it. They'll say it's not true. But do the members of the governing body know that? Of course they do. And there you have another gap between the rank and file and the governing body members. The governing body members know that they have done something opposite their teachings, meaning being part of that evil thing, which is the UN. They know that. They know they were members of that evil thing for 10 years. But the average rank and file, they don't know that. So there you have it. Another huge gap between the rank and file and the governing body members. Question number 3 that you can ask a rank and file member, an average Jehovah's Witness. What do you think about 1975? Did the Watchtower advertise that date as being the end of this system of thing? Most of them will tell you, no way. No way. When I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I will never forget once in service with a sister who used to tell me how some crazy brothers and sisters had put it into their heads that 1975 was going to be the end, and then when that did not happen, they just left the truth. And at the time, I believed it was the truth. I knew nothing about that 1975 thing. And this sister truly believed what she was saying. She was not lying. But the true liars are the governing body members. They know. They know that they have advertised that 1975 being the end of this system of things. They have said it, and even if they have never maybe wrote it down word for word, they have suggested it plenty of times, and they did say the date. And here's a clip of that date, 1975, spoken out by a governing body member.
So, if we know anything, we know that the kingdom of God in its destructive work toward the devil's organization and the ushering in of the great Sabbath day of which the Lord Jesus Christ will be king, that day and hour which God has fixed is here. And let's not fool ourselves about the matter and start making plans and entering into projects which are not warranted by the lateness of the hour, even if we don't know how long after September 5th, 1975, the time will extend itself.
Well, now, as Jehovah's Witnesses, as runners, even though some of us have become a little weary, it almost seems as though Jehovah has provided meat in due season, because he's held up before all of us a new goal, a new year, something to reach out for, and it just seems has given all of us so much more energy and power in this final burst of speed for the finish line. And that's the year 1975. As one brother put it, stay alive to 75.
So you can see that again, there is a discrepancy between the rank and file belief and knowledge and the governing body belief and knowledge. Not the same at all. It's never the same, as a matter of fact. Another thing you may ask to a Jehovah's Witness, to an average Jehovah's Witness from the rank and file, is, do you know anything about the Malawi, Mexico thing? Do you know that the Watchtower ordered one thing to Malawi while they ordered another thing to Mexico, when it was really, in both cases, about a card that would help them not to go through hardship? In Malawi, all they had to do is have a card, a government card that would save them from death, from rape, from torture, you name it. And the thing is, anyhow, there was only one government, so that card would just mean really nothing but belonging to the government of their own country. Well, the Watchtower said, forget it, just die, just be raped, just be whatever, but you are not allowed, you'll be doing something against Jehovah if you are accepting that card. On the other hand, on the other side of the world, at the same time, they allowed the brothers in Mexico to do have a card that would prevent them to go on a military service. So they were allowed there to even bribe the officials, the government officials, to get that card, and therefore pretend that they already done service, if I'm not wrong, and they wouldn't have to do it. Unbelievable. Does the average rank and file Jehovah's Witness know that? No, they don't. Does the Watchtower leaders know that? You bet they do. They were the ones behind it all, behind this big hypocrisy. So once again, we see that the average knowledge of the rank and file and the knowledge of the Watchtower leaders is very different, isn't it? Another question you can ask the rank and file, the average Jehovah's Witness: do you know about all those pedophiles court cases that happened those past 5 years? Most of them will tell you, no, never heard of it. There are no pedophiles in Jehovah's Witnesses organization. Now, Does the rank and file knows about those pedophiles court cases? We know they do. One of the governing body members was in court defending those cases, defending the Watchtower, that is. And he was also called by yours truly the biggest liar of the governing body. And here's a clip of one of his lies.
Do you see yourselves as Jehovah God's spokespeople on earth?
That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous to say that we are the only spokesperson that God is using.
So again, of course there is a discrepancy, there is a gap, there is a difference between what the rank and file believes and what the governing body members believe. Again, big difference, right? Again, the rank and file and the governing body members do not believe the same thing. They are not aware of the same truth. They're definitely not. Another question you can ask a member of the rank and file, an average Jehovah's Witness, do you know that 607 for the date as the destruction of Jerusalem is false? You can read any historical documents you want and you'll see that 607 exists only in Jehovah's Witnesses literature, but as for the real date of the destruction of Jerusalem is more like 586, 587. And we know now, awake Jehovah's Witnesses, that there is an ex-Jehovah's Witness who had found out of this lie. And the way he found out is because a study of his, a Bible study of his, he found out that this date was false. When he talked about it to the leaders of the organization, well, he was disfellowshipped. Now, you see another gap here? Ask any Jehovah's Witness if he knows or if she knows that Jerusalem was really destroyed in 586, 587, and not in 607. They will tell you, no, that's not true. Because the Watchtower leaders tell us it's 607. Therefore, we believe them, right? Now, that's what the leaders teach. But they know. At least some of them must know. They must know that this is a made-up date to match their 1914 BS that they had came up with few decades ago. But it's a made-up date. Jerusalem, historically, was not destroyed in 607, but rather in 586, 587. The average Jehovah's Witness rank and file doesn't know that. The average leader of the governing body, they have to know that. Again, you see the discrepancy, you see the difference between what the rank and file knows and believes and what the governing body knows and believes. So you see, I could go on a few more minutes here, giving you more examples, but I'm going to stop here. And you can ask yourself the questions. If the rank and file doesn't know, is not aware of the same things the governing body members, what does this mean? It means that they are not on the same level. So saying that the governing body leaders, the governing body members are just deluded men rather than having an agenda, really, it's being a little blind. And some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are still a little blind, as a matter of fact. Not only indoctrinated Jehovah's Witnesses are, some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are still a little blind. And I think it's human nature, you know, we want to reassure ourselves because we were in there, right? We want to reassure ourselves that we were not that dumb, that we were not that fooled, and that we were not in such a bad cult before. So somehow defending the governing body members, saying, well, they're bad, but they're just a bunch of bad old deluded men. When they're more than that. I think they're more evil than many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses want to give them credit for. That is my take on it. You know, you don't have to agree. But anyhow, I wanted to mention that because it's something I wanted to mention for a long, long time. Never got the chance to do a video about that. And it's done now. So, please like the video if you liked it. Comment, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And by the way, I'm approaching my 10,000 subscribers on this channel, so I'm going to have a nice little video to celebrate with little clips and stuff. That's going to be funny and nice. So that's going to be entertaining for you guys if you want to watch that video coming up, okay? Thank you for listening again, and as always, I see you on my next video. Bye-bye now.